Hello, Factorio people. Fenton here with another Factorio Over-Explain. I'm a bit ill, as you might be able to hear. I'm going to soldier on anyway. Blow these trees up for effect, for dramatic effect. I put coal on the bus because we're going to need some coal for today's episode. And I just added an extra line coming out of here. I could have split this line and gone this way and just prioritised it going this way first, but I figured it would be best to do this. This is probably going to run out soon. Sooner rather than later, but there's another one here and there's another one here, and we can fix it. We can fix it. And that was plastics researched, which is exactly what I wanted. Right. The last time we brought oil in, crude oil that is, and now everything's full. This train is full, as we can see over here. 25,000 in the tank. This one is full, same thing, 25,000 crude oil in the tank. So the pumps aren't doing anything because everything's full and the train is trying to empty and it can't. So you need some oil refineries, and I put oil refineries in them all except for bricks. I have to add bricks manually, but that's fine because oil refineries are one of those things that you just, once you've got some, then you're alright. Let's plop one down, shall we? It's only got one recipe at the moment, and that's basic oil processing. So if we have a look and put some power on it just so that we stop this stupid blinking lights. Swapped my power poles around there somehow. Let's not get into that again. There we go. It has... what's the best way to show this? I'll rotate it this way just for now. It has two input pipes. One there and one there. And it has three output pipes, like this. For the current recipe, basic oil processing, it only needs crude oil in and petroleum comes out. And I can see that because I've got alt mode on, and if you still haven't got alt mode on, what are you doing? It uses 100 crude oil in 5 seconds to make 45 petroleum gas. So that's 20 crude oil for 9 petroleum per second. The problem I have is that it's quite difficult for me now to know exactly how much oil is coming out of here, because there's going to be a stockpile, and these are full as well now, so you'll start to see once these pipes start getting backed up. That one's already backed up. It's backed up there now. It's beginning to back up here. The pump jacks will just stop because there's no more room in any of the pipes. I mean, you could go through and you could add all of the expected resources here for each one of your pump jacks, but the numbers are going to change, so really just build some. If you need more plastic, this is why we're doing this, is because you need petroleum to make plastic. 20 petroleum gas in a second. And we just did the math in these, because these have a crafting speed of 1, so you don't have to worry about any of the nonsense of dividing like you do with your assembly machines. These are going to give you 9 petroleum gas a second. So I mean, if we just go with 4 for now, shift right click and then shift left click to copy and paste recipes. Always leave a space in between them, because ideally, once we get advanced oil processing, which is what these extra outputs are going to be for, you can't mix fluids. So if your oil refineries were right next to each other, this would work for now, but then as soon as you change to advanced oil processing, this would be a different fluid output. Of course, you could get around that with using undergrounds. Undergrounds don't link in that way, so they're quite useful. I just personally find best practice is to leave a space. Also because then it means that your power poles go nicely in between, like this. I'll put that one there and get rid of that, tidy this up. Alright, so much in the same way that we linked our fuel tanks on the way in, I'm going to also link them on the way out, push the fluid out with a pipe, with a pump, and then do an underground, or a couple of undergrounds as far as they'll go, to there, and then bring it across. The secondary input that you need when you get to advanced oil processing is water, which is okay because we've got a water supply here. There's also actually a tiny water supply there, but I'll probably landfill that up. So I'll probably be bringing water in from this side, the crude oil come in from this side, and then our products will come out this way. Ideally, I mean, probably what's going to happen right now is the petroleum's just going to come this way straight away, and then the coal is going to come this way, and we're just going to add plastic to the bus immediately, because plastic, chemical science packs, which are the blue science packs, the next one up, need sulfur, advanced circuits and engine units. We can make engine units en masse at the moment. We can't make sulfur because sulfur needs petroleum, and we can't make advanced circuits because advanced circuits need plastic, and plastic needs petroleum as well. So let's get this done, shall we? Are you going to reach? You are going to reach, right. So the flames come on, let you know that they're working. Crude oil in, petroleum out. And they will work for as long as the petroleum gets full up, and I believe it's 100, so it's just now can't output this next lot, and it's sorted. So let's do this, and do I want to put it into a tank as well? I think I will put it into a tank. Thankfully I've got the stuff on me to build a tank. Plug it in there like that, and I'll put a pump here. Whoops. I'll put a pump here as well, just for the sake of it, like it's not hugely important. But you can see as the outputs go, then the pump pushes it all along, and then nothing happens because it takes 5 seconds to craft, so... We're already up to 1.6 thousand petroleum. So then now let's get the plastic sorted. How much plastic do we want? We want quite a bit, to be fair. A whole belt might be a bit much. I should probably be researching red circuits. A whole belt might be a bit much. We're going to need 3 advanced circuits to make 2 chemical science packs. What was our current science rate per second? I believe we settled on 45 per minute. Kind of hard to see that because science has been backed up for so long. I believe it was 45 a minute. So that means we're going to need about... Oh god, math. 2 in 24 seconds, 1 in 12 seconds. One in 12 seconds times the crafting speed, which is 0.75. Get my calculator out. I'm so ill. I'm so ill. Times 0.75. 0.06 a second. That can't be right. No, that is right. 0.0625 a second. 45 divided by 0.0625. No, my math's just gone wrong. What am I trying to do now? One assembly machine would make this many science packs per second. Which does make sense, because if you times 0.0, well, it's actually 0.625. If you times 0.0625 by 24 seconds, you get 1.5. But then you've also got to factor in the crafting speed. I've done the crafting speed the wrong way, haven't I? That implies it's making 1.5 per second, but it's actually making 2 per second. I was supposed to divide by this number, I think, is what's happened there. Which gives you a slightly different number of 0.1111111111111. And then, so if we want 45 a minute, I don't know. Basically, I don't know. I'm too ill. My brain is just, it's clogged up. Maybe we should get the resource calculator out and actually see. So there's a mod that I've added here called Rate Calculator, which you can use to actually work things out for you. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you how to do it by hand so that you knew what the rate calculator was doing, but apparently I'm not smart enough to work that out. Let's get all the way up to blue science and then we'll take it from there. But for now, let's just make some plastic, and if it's too much, we can sort it. If it's not enough, we can sort it out. Right. So this is a chemical lab. It works, has the same footprint as an assembly machine. But it has 2 inputs and 2 outputs. It has 2 pipes, I should say, because it also has, obviously, inputs for a belt. Which would, in theory, be true for an oil processing plant. For some recipes, you also need to add coal in. And there's nothing stopping the input from being in the same place as a pipe if I had any long-handed inserters. Let me just go and grab some, because I'm going to need some inserters for these jobs. If I had some long-handed inserters, there's no reason why the inserter couldn't actually go here and be placing it on the pipe input. Like, the pipe input is just... fluids have to go in exactly there. And you can't change this either. You can't change the... that's advanced electronics. If the recipe says oil needs to go in this spot, it has to go in this spot. There's no way around that. Which is it causes some chagrin later down the line. Especially if you have one facing this way and one facing this way, then it's no longer symmetrical. Anyway. So for plastic, which we can now do, it needs 1 coal and 20 petroleum gas per second to make 2 plastic bars. So it's 2 plastic bars per second, fancy that. 2 plastic bars per second is going to be 7.5 chemical plants. Would be a full belt. I don't know if we've got the oil to support that. Right, we've got chemical science packs going now. Let's actually have a quick look at this, shall we? Chemical science pack. 2 in 24 seconds. Times the crafting speed. Divided by the crafting speed. It's 32 seconds. 2 in 32 seconds is 1 every 16 seconds. And we want 45 a minute. 1 every 16 seconds. 60 divided by 16 is 3.75 a minute, and we want 45 a minute divided by 3.75 gives us exactly 12. So we would need 12 assembly machines making blue science constantly. So 12 assembly machines. Mac in each one, and it was 24 times the crafting speed, which is 0.75. Sorry, no, dividing by the crafting speed. It's 32. 2 every 32. Every 32 seconds it finishes a craft. And each one needs 3 plastic. Every 32 seconds it finishes a craft. That's bizarre. This is the wrong way to go about this. 12 assembly machines needing 3 advanced circuits. But because it's an odd number, it's very strange, it's confusing me. My brain, I cannot do the math. I cannot do the math. It takes 32 seconds to do 1 craft, right? I'm trying to get it per minute, the number of plastic I need per minute. It takes 32 seconds to do 1 craft, so that's 0.53 crafts. No, not that way around. 1.875 crafts per minute times 6, which is the number of plastic you need, is 11.25 plastic per minute for each assembly machine times 12. It's 135 plastic per minute. Which is 2.25 plastic per second. I think, right, there's a mod you can get called Rate Calculator, which if you use it and you select a building that's doing a thing, you can tell it will show you all of that, it will do all of that math for you. So if we change the multiplier here for 12, 67.5 assembly machines, 67.5 advanced circuits per minute. So if we change this to advanced circuits now, and then change this number until we get to what is higher than that, 67, was it 67.5? 135 plastic, which is what I said, is it not? It is exactly what I said, 135 plastic, okay. Sorry, we got there, and a chemical plant makes a lot of plastic, basically. It could make up to 120 per minute if it was going full tilt. So really we only need 2. So let's see if we've even got enough petroleum for that. No, that's fine, I will put that there. It's a bit in the way. Right, let's bring the coal in, shall we? I want the coal to go in here like this. And then I want the petroleum to go in here like this. So you can see for this particular recipe it doesn't care, it's just petroleum in. So then we'll put a pump here to pump the petroleum out again. I'll turn this into an underground just to save on a bit of space. I'm also going to need to bring power pole through here anyway. Slightly awkward. I could have done that a bit closer, but who cares, right? Can't reach. Ah, no, this is not going to work. And if I'm going to delete that, then I may as well move it all. Okay. It's not going to work because that needs a lot of coal, and so it needs to be a blue-handed inserter. So the best way to do that, and obviously as we know a blue-handed inserter can only go 1 tile away. So the best tileable way to do this is like this. And then your underground goes there like that. So then that lets you put the belt 1 tile away. And then when you copy and paste the next set down like this, you have to be 1 tile away for the power poles, I suppose. When you put your next set down like this, the underground reaches across, you've got space for a power pole here, because then if your power poles are like this, then that's far enough away with some space for some lights and so on. And I should also put some lights in here. Alright. And I want a roughly balanced belt, so I will do this in the old-fashioned way. That is completely incorrect. An inserter drops on the far side, so that one's going to go there. So this one, in fact, has to be side-loaded from this side. And I don't have enough space for that, so my inserters have to go here, like this. There we go. Side loading. Genius. Bring that across. Put that on the bus. What can loosely be described as a bus. Yeah, so a partner has had a cold for the last week. She's coming out of it now. And I'm just getting... I had this ear thing going on, which I don't know if is related or not, if that was how the cold was manifesting for me in the early days of the cold. But I'm definitely, like, it's definitely head cold, sort of. I'm so tired. I got a poor quality sleep because I was so bunged up and snoring myself awake because I had to breathe through my mouth and ugh. So yeah, apologies for this. Alright, the coal is coming in. The petroleum is being fed okay. Plastic bars are coming out. Vaguely balanced. Not really that fast, is it? Let's double this up. Even though that's going to be overkill, but we're going to need plastic for other things, of course, so we'll double this up. Which means we can change this. Gone through that rigmarole now. Gonna just change this so that it side loads here instead. Power supply there. There we go. Right, that's some plastic. I've got some coal on me. Get rid of it. If this were working at full tilt, this would be 120 petroleum gas a minute. 60 times 20. Oh no, 60 times 20 is 1,200. That's not maths. 1,200 petroleum gas a minute. I feel like this is going to be going... This is not going to be enough. But the plastic's already backed up, and this is huge overkill, I feel like, for this stage of the game. You can see the train is emptying. It's stopped now. Now it's all fully backed up again because this belt is now full. Cool. Well, it was a palaver, and we didn't need to go through all the math, but we did. The math is not one oil refinery per chemical plant. If it was, then it would be a bit simpler than that. I mean, if I get the rate calculator out and show you that it's a bit more complicated. 80 crude in, 36 petroleum out per second. This is 80 petroleum out, in rather, 36 per second. So this is overscaled, but because we have this tank here of 25,000, that is fine. As we start using the plastic, if this is using only 80 per second, 80 divided by 25,000 divided by 80 does give us a 5-minute buffer here for petroleum gas. And then if we run out of petroleum gas there, then we need to do something. But still, right, let's have a quick look at FNEI to see what plastic is used for. Advanced circuits, hooray. Cannon shells don't need, explosive cannon shells don't need. Low density structures, oh boy, we're going to need loads of those moving forward. But we need advanced circuits. How long have I been recording for? God, I wish I knew. God, I wish I'd set a timer when I started this. My brain, help me. Please help me. Let's get it done, shall we? This is probably going to be the only video this week, so if it can be, if it's a slightly longer one, then sure, whatever. Is there any research we could be tidying up? Modular armor, modules. Oh, loads of stuff, loads of stuff. Let's just get this going, shall we? We'll just get that running in the background because I want to get some red circuits going, basically. Actually, let's get some sulfur going. That'll be easier. That will be easier. and then I'll stop the episode. Sulfur is also made in chemical plant, but it needs water and petroleum gas. So let's do some more chemical plant stuff. That'll fit in a bit more with the theme. I'm going to build this lot here, oops, in almost exactly the same way, so that my petroleum can also come down this way. But when I select sulfur for this, click and drag across, you'll see that it has two separate inputs, of which there is no way to change. And then if I try and do this build here like this, oh, that does work, but it's interesting. It shouldn't work. It's the outputs that it forces you to say no, that doesn't work. Inputs it doesn't mind, because if you then hook this up like this, you're just not going to get any water in. So this system won't work. The best way to do this is to use a series of underground tubes in this fashion. So you have your inputs like this for the factory, and this will work for any number of inputs. If there was a third input, another 2 spaces along, this would work. So for example, your oil refinery outputs, or inputs even, this would be fine. It never goes higher than 3, but obviously this, in theory, as long as your inputs are only ever 1 square away, this just works forever. Thank you. Cliff explosive next, please. And so then if we just copy and paste this here, we can see that as long as you leave 1 space in between your plants, this is always going to work. It's quite intensive on iron plates, because an underground is the 5 iron plates and the 10 pipes for a total of 15 iron plates. So just this on its own, you know, like the more of these you do, if I were to do another 2 here, it does quickly add up. It does quickly add up, which is why it's important to have pipes and the maul done properly. And if I just go back to the maul to show you exactly what I did. This makes pipes directly from the bus of iron plates. This outputs then into its own box, and then the undergrounds take from that supply and the 5 iron plates it needs and puts it into a separate box. So this works because you're always going to then prioritise undergrounds. So if I take these undergrounds out, I've got a stockpile here of pipes for it to take from, which thankfully can be built quite quickly. It would be built even quicker if this were on the other side and this were a fast inserter. I can double this up so there's no power for it now. It's a bit overkill, in fact, 2 long-handed inserters. It's fine, it doesn't matter. So it's going to take from your stockpile of pipes. If you did it the other way, if you had one iron pipe, let's make these assembly machine Mark IIs, that would also speed them up. If you had one like this and then one like this, it wouldn't be as quick, because the stockpile of pipes in here is only ever going to be like 10, whatever it is. So then you'll be bottlenecked here on your underground pipes, pipe to ground recipe. Accumulators, why not? So that's why it's important to do it like this, because at least you're then pulling from a stockpile of pipes. Anyway, that aside, we can do the same thing here, and then the same that we did with the plastic outputs, because sulfur is a product, it doesn't need to go into a pipe. That's awkward, isn't it? This could have been done with being the other way around. I will underground this just so I can walk through this gap. Water! We need water to come in from the other side. That's okay. It's got a bit of a water supply here. And I can make one offshore pump with what's in my inventory. My god, he's a genius. An offshore pump can pump 1,200 water per second. There are very few things that would need... Oh, cannot reach. Very few things that would need more than that. One of them is nuclear power, but oh boy, we're not ready for that yet. Your undergrounds work in the same way as your... oh, I put it in the wrong place. As your power poles, you can click and drag, and it will know exactly where to put them. I don't know why that didn't work. But it's worked this way now, and there we go. There's the sulfur. It really is as easy as that. When you're dealing with fluids, as long as you keep in mind that fluids can't mix, so like it's not gonna like this at all. Not that, but that cannot connect systems with different fluids. And this is your one-stop solution basically for anything like that. For input, for single input things, you can do this with your inserter on that side with the undergrounds. You don't have to have them all in a row. You can power them like this. For your multiple input fluids, this just always works. And we'll be able to change our oil to that once we get advanced oil processing sorted, which is not going to be far away. All we have to do is get red circuits sorted, build some engine units, and then we can start making blue science, which is going to have to come up this way. Either I bring it this way and add it to the labs. Ooh, the labs are in fact there. Or I bring it this way. Either way, it doesn't really matter. But once we got blue science done, we can start moving over to the main base. This obviously took quite a while to make a starter base that we're then going to abandon. You could massively simplify all of this. Of course you could. Oh, thank you, accumulators. Ah, stack inserters, sure. Not really much use for that at the moment, but whatever, they're useful. And that gives us access to inserter capacity researchers, so our normal inserters here will actually be able to pick two things up at once, which would be very helpful. What was I saying? Right, yeah, you could massively simplify all of this. There are some Factorio pros out there who are basically doing all of this in one blueprint. It doesn't, necessarily have to work at ratio or anything. You're just plopping down a starter base and you feed it iron ore and copper ore in, and it does all of this for you. You're more than welcome to go and find one of those and plop that down. My cat is coughing. Oh, poor Gammy. You alright, Gammy? You're more than welcome to do that. Of course you might, if you've watched this series or you have a passing knowledge of Factorio or anything, it's probably okay. You will understand exactly what's going on and why things are happening. But half the reason I've made this series is because I feel like it is important for people to understand why these things happen. It's very easy to go online and get blueprints for builds. You can, if I show you a blueprint book, whoops, that's a new blueprint book, that's not what I wanted. So like my blueprint library here, these are all garbage, of course. They don't make much sense. I can share these with you. I could share these with you. Just in a text string, in fact. So for example, here is a build that uses solar panels and accumulators to power a radar overnight. I did the math to work out how much electricity that would need and how many solar panels and accumulators you'd need to run through the night, and built this. And I could share that with you in a blueprint string, and you would just paste that into your game. And that's very cool. It obviously stops it stops people from understanding why things work. Like this is a mall I made like freaking ages ago, and it's ugly as sin, but it's mine, right? I designed it. I know how it works. I don't use it anymore, although I could. Uh, it needs red belts and all that kind of nonsense. And I've got some blueprint books here that I imported. I've got some blueprint books here from games files I played with mods. So none of these work because they're all, I don't know what the game's like. I don't know what this item is. So it's very cool that you could go online and just find a blueprint from something that you need. Like if you're really bashing your head against it and you're like, I just don't understand nuclear power at all, I can't wrap my head around it, then at least you could go on, find a blueprint and play around with it yourself and work out what it is. But it also has the caveat of stopping somebody from just not really playing the game or understanding the game and just going online and plopping blueprints down and being like, yeah, I finished it. I finished the game. Because I plopped down this all-in-one blueprint that just had iron. You just needed to feed it iron, copper, stone and coal on one side and it launched a rocket for you on the other side 10 hours later. But, you play the game how you want to play the game, basically. I'm not going to put the sulfur on the bus because all I'm going to do with it is put it in the assembly machines for blue science, although maybe making some cliff explosives with it might be fine, although I need to make regular explosives first and then turn regular explosive into cliff explosives with empty barrels and grenades. It's a whole thing. I could just make the explosives here, couldn't I? Because I've got the water coming in and the coal coming in, so I could just start stockpiling explosives. But I can't be bothered, basically. I'm so tired. Please help me. That was Factorio Extended, as you may understand. This will be Monday's episode. It is Monday right now. It's 12:30, in fact. So by the time I've uploaded this and made a thumbnail and scheduled it for 2 o'clock, it'll probably be ready. It'll probably be 2 o'clock. So by the time it's processed. So there might not be one on Thursday if I can't sort my brain out, if my cold gets any worse. So thank you so much for bearing with me. We did get plastic and sulfur done here, and it does look quite neat, doesn't it? It's not a total mess. And we can scale up if we need to, if we find another oil patch, which it's not looking like we will do yet. This research is just ticking along. Night vision equipment, hooray! I believe in the night vision equipment you get, perfect night glasses. If you've got the Afraid of the Dark mod on, so then it will just never look dark at all ever after this, which will be nice for you and nice for me as well. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please let me know with a like or a comment, and if you want to see more Factorio Over-Explained, be sure to subscribe, although it might not be this week, so sorry. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.